Hey guys. Hey guys, thanks very much for joining us. It's an honor and pleasure to be here. Hello. Hey. Hello. Hello, testing. Hey guys, thanks very much for having us here. It's a pleasure to meet you all. I am Basil Ismail, the CEO of Block Circle and co-founder of Block Circle Indonesia as well. We have Tim, who is a co-founder and managing director of Block Circle Indonesia.
Hello.
We have Agnes, and she is also a co-founder, managing director, and then Connor, same co-founder, managing director. We're all, yeah, go ahead.
Hi guys.
Good. Yeah, it's really good to have everyone here. We're honored to have you all here, and I think our main goal was to try to make this as interactive as possible and make it like an actual hands-on workshop, and not just like a everybody getting drunk and like a like a smash fest. Like make it something educational and informative and as useful as possible. So if everyone can, pull out your laptops, I think most of you have, where you can connect to the actual Block Circle Wi-Fi, and the password is trading crypto, but it's in Bahasa, so it's TradingKripto, so trading crypto. And that connection will be much faster because Rachel has kindly set us up with much faster VIP connection just for you. And basically, I think, in speaking to many of you, what I've realized, and I think what the team has realized, is most of you have already done some type of on-chain trading. So I will try to probably skip through the beginning parts of what I had already planned, because what I was going to do initially was, I was going to say, what is on-chain trading? How do you access it? What is a smart contract? What are blockchain explorers? What are the risks and opportunities? But I think it seems like the majority, if not all of you, already have answers to these questions. Can I just get like a show of hands? Who here has already used Uniswap or MetaMask or Phantom Wallet? Who here has not used those apps? That's what I'm trying to get to. As everyone, so it looks like that's my point. So I think we're going to skip part one. And part two, I think most of you already know how to set up a soft wallet. And I think the next thing is on MEV Bot, so we'll talk through that. And then I want to talk through some of the best decentralized exchanges to use. And then part three is how we'll finish everything off is, are you guys trying to connect to the internet? Yeah? It should be a Block Circle Wi-Fi. Tim will help you get set up too. The username is Block Circle, yeah. And then the password is trading crypto, KRIPTO, trading crypto. So we'll give everyone a minute or so to get set up. Connor, can you help them also set up the Wi-Fi, please, if they don't mind? I think there's still a few more connecting.
So just while we're going through that, today as part of the presentation, I'll mostly be, most of us with the microphones can come to you if you have a question. Very much welcome you to stick up your hands, ask a clarifying question, and definitely to ask for anything that's not being covered. So I'll keep a lookout on everyone. I'll just walk around and just look for myself or Agnes, so we can help you out with any questions you have for that.
Okay, let's get started. So first thing is, who are we and what is Block Circle? Because many of you keep, have been asking that. And I think it's worth just spending literally a minute explaining who we are. So we are basically a alpha community plus alpha tools, and we find projects as early as possible across their life cycle. And my business partner and I, Crypto Hunter and I, and Tim and Connor and Agnes and 1,000 other members as part of the Block Circle family, we are alpha hunters. So we research the internet and we get insider tips and we collectively leverage the intelligence from everyone globally to try to find crypto projects and NFT projects as early as possible after they're launched. And even the ones that are already launched, we focus on finding ones which are undervalued, right? And we do use a combination of fundamental analysis, technical analysis, and sentimental analysis to do that, right? And today, I wanted to walk through examples of how we've done that, and how we've done that basically. Really what we focus on is microcaps. That's like what our specialty in is market caps of 10 million and below, right? So we don't really focus on anything that's a billion plus, except for some swing trades as part of our alpha tools, and I'll show that. But that's really what we do. So the way we do everything is we use our own AI system to be able to find which projects potentially are interesting, but then we have to manually screen them and review them and evaluate them. So this is just a view of like our Block Circle Discord, right? And that's where we share all of our trades. That's where we share our market analysis. That's where we share, like we were just buying some more Pepe yesterday. We were buying, and this is not what the group is buying. It's just what my business partner and I post as trades, and that's what we post as market analysis. And we always provide like a very clear hypothesis, right? So like reasoning for why this project could potentially be interesting, right? So like yield, why are we buying yield in this entry of 35 cents and 40 cents? It's trying to get some more exposure into real world assets, right? So that's a new investment narrative that some people are buying. We've been buying that for like literally 4 years at this point, right? So we've been buying and selling and trading positions within the real world assets narrative for a long, long time. So how we generally do things and how we find alpha and how we do it is we focus on finding investment narratives first, right? So we have an investment theme. So we say DeFi is one investment theme. Decentralized pins, like DPins, is another investment theme. Real world assets is another investment theme, right? Once we find which theme we feel like, meme coins is another very important investment theme. It's a narrative, right? Now that we have the narrative picked out, we then try to find projects that are within that narrative, that are within that investment theme. And that has helped us find projects like Omnom, and I don't know if you, how many of you have heard of Omnom? Like OM. So one person? So there's only one person, yeah. So that's an example of the investment theme. That was the first meme coin on the Doge chain, right? So Doge is the first meme coin. The first meme coin built on top of the first meme coin was Omnom. So we were very bullish on meme coins for a long time, right? And that's why we bought Omnom at the beginning of this year, right? And that's why we bought another project called Welsh. So Omnom went 300x, right? From the time that we bought it to the time that we ended up selling some of it, it went up 300x, right? It went up literally 300x in 3 months. So that's just an example of one project that we couldn't have never found this ourselves. Like I was speaking to a few others, like Teo and a few others here about like why do we do what we do? Even if I end up having 200, 300, 400 million one day, I will always do Block Circle because it's just you cannot compete with 1,000 grades. Like it doesn't matter how smart and intelligent you are, you're never going to be able to outperform a group of 1,000 hunters who are constantly searching for the next big thing, right? So hopefully that makes some sense. So again, it's like alpha community that's on the Discord and on the Telegram, and then we have alpha tools. And part of the alpha tools is something that I'll go through, today, which is like an analytical platform and different metrics we look at and different things. So, and then we have it in English. And then one of the big markets we're focusing on, of course, since last year is Block Circle Indonesia. And then other markets is like Netherlands and Spanish and, other parts of the world. But as a member, you have access to everything, right? So before we go into real examples, are there any questions at all about like what we do, how we accomplish what we do? Is there any questions? Anything you guys want me to clarify? No? Okay. Am I going too fast in English, or is this okay? It's okay. Yeah. Can we? 1 second. We'll give you a microphone. Because there's a chicken that keeps roosting behind me. I don't know if you're hearing it. So it's like, wow.
Yeah, just a question regarding the trades that you posted earlier. So it doesn't say like, so if there are spot trades or leverage trades, like, do you give indication?
So what we do is, for most of the micro caps and small caps, they actually only have spot markets. They don't even have leverage futures markets. They don't have perpetual futures or derivative markets. So for those, you're indefinitely looking at like having a long bias. So you're basically buying and holding. But for the momentum trading engine, so remember I said there's an alpha community and then there's alpha tools. One of the main alpha tools, one of my babies, something that's taken me 2 years and the team to build, is momentum trading engine. And that's literally what you're seeing here. This basically helps you identify when to buy and when to sell, right? And let me change it to daily and I'll show you so you can actually see like real examples, right? But basically, do you see how this is telling you go long right here on August 22nd? So this is Bitcoin USD on 1 day, and this is telling you to go long at like 60,000, right? So this momentum trading engine is one example of an alpha tool. This is what I have a good portion of my portfolio in, and this helps me know when to go long and when to go short. And I can only go short if I'm using perpetual futures, right? So for that, and I don't like to use leverage. I'm not like those degenerates who uses 10x, 20x, 30x leverage. Like, I'm very controlled. I have 2 kids and a wife. I can't be like, an irresponsible idiot, right? I have to be calm. So this momentum trading engine has been amazing for me. And it's already configured for Bitcoin and Solana. Those are like the 2 top 3 most liquid, most globally accessible coins in the world, right? So to me, that's why I'm focusing on those configurations. And I'll walk through actual examples of it, but it's literally a fully configurable trading engine. So this is just, again, like one alpha tool we have that's all part of the same, member base, but you can configure it however you want. And this just tells you, I want to go long when these conditions are met. I want to go short when these conditions are met. And some of you have mentioned, it's funny how many people here mentioned the same thing to me, is you're like, oh, I'm really good at entering trades, but then I don't know how to exit trades, right? And this to me helps me manage my emotions, because the momentum trading engine tells you, hey, you should probably get out because the market's unbelievably overheated. You're 25% in profit. Take profit, move your stop loss up, right? And protect your gains. So to me, this helps. This helps a huge amount for what I'm doing. And yeah, so this is good. I want to keep asking questions, please. Are there any other questions? No? Okay. So let's keep talking through like how we're finding alpha, right? Because that's really what you're here for. The way we find alpha, and I spoke about this on I'll show you. So here, so at CoinFest, how many of you came to CoinFest and actually attended my session on how to find alpha? I think a few of you did, right? Yeah, I was the first person who spoke. It was us four on the alpha stage. Were any of you here? There? No. Okay. So, okay, good. So that's perfect. That makes it, then we have a lot of like really good material that we can cover. But the way that we find alpha, right, is we find alpha across 3 different stages. One is pre-tokenized, second one is post-tokenized, and then a third is screening and auditing, right? And I'll go into as much detail as anybody wants, but ultimately, the way that I focus on pre-tokenized is farming for airdrops, right? So I know some of you have heard of airdrops, some of you haven't, but basically projects that are going to be launched, right? Projects that are going to be launched, they will give you a special reward, a special gift, if you actually use their application, right? And if you use their application, they end up giving you an airdrop in the form of a token. So the way I do that is I spend a huge amount of time farming for airdrops where I interact with the actual application. So that's literally you plugging into Uniswap and like executing transactions, buying and selling, bridging assets from one platform to another. So using like some of the bridging applications that we have, like there's so many that you can use, but like literally the ones that I have right now on my screen, right? So you can use like RocketX. You could use, Synapse Protocol, the Aptos Bridge, Symbiosis. So basically moving tokens from Bitcoin to Ethereum or from Ethereum to Solana. These are all in transactions that really will help you when the project ends up doing an airdrop. It gives you a huge reward, right? And they're just thanking you because you were an early user. It's just like if you're starting up a company and say you're starting up an ice cream shop. And the first 10 customers are the ones who really helped you, and then you give them you give them an extra scoop, you give them an extra gift. It's exactly like airdrops. And the way that we do that, and I've been very fortunate to do really well with airdrops, because sometimes if you just spend $100 and maybe even $10, $20, and you're just doing a few transactions back and forth, if you do it early, your reward sometimes will be $1,000, $5,000, $10,000, $15,000. That's what the projects will give you. If you do it enough times. So if you do 1 transaction, 2 transactions a month, and you do it for 6 months, then you end up getting a role called an OG role. So it's like original gangster role, right? The projects really, really love the people who are the original supporters of that project. And that gives you a reward times 10. It gives you a much more valuable airdrop than you would have otherwise gotten. Does that make sense? Do people understand airdrops? That makes sense. Okay. Another big way to get even more rewards is you go and you socialize with the team. So you like their tweets, you retweet them, you go on their Telegram, you make sure they see you, they see your name, you ask them questions during their open Q&A, AMAs, right? That is single-handedly one of the most valuable things you can do to get a huge airdrop, right? That's why I'm focusing on pre-tokenized. So pre-tokenized, again, is projects that don't yet have a token on CoinMarketCap or CoinGecko, right? Another big thing you could do, like we talked about, is executing transactions and then bridging assets. So honestly, if you just do these 5 and you put $100, $200 aside and you just start farming for airdrops, it does not take more than 5 minutes to farm for airdrops per project. So in 1 hour, you could do like 5, 6 projects. And another thing that we're going to do on the Block Circle Alpha app is we want to build an entire module, and we're building it now, for airdrops to help you find which airdrops to farm and exactly what to do. So hopefully that makes sense. But let me give you an example. So because to me, this is the best way to get alpha. Like this, you cannot get any alpha faster than this. So projects that I'm farming right now, just a small example, and I'm going to zoom in here so you see it. So One big investment narrative that I am focusing on is layer 2 on top of Bitcoin, right? So what does that mean? That means projects like B Squared, projects like Conflux, Satoshi VM, right? Stacks, Botmix, Merlin Chain. These to me are projects, some of them are already tokenized. So Satoshi VM already tokenized, Stacks is tokenized, but Merlin Chain, Botmix, Conflux, I know that these projects are going to give some airdrop. Very likely they're going to give airdrops. And they want to reward their early users. They want to reward their power users, right? Again, just like if you had an ice cream shop, are you going to give free scoops to everyone? Are you going to give free scoops to the people who actually were there to help you grow, right? So that's what these projects are doing. So Margin 5, Camino, Layer 0. I know many of you use Solana. I've heard this from when I got to meet you this morning or just now. Many of you said, I only do Solana meme coins. I've done this and that. But I think it's a waste of an opportunity for you not to at least use Margin 5, Camino, and just interact with them. Because the airdrops could be thousands and thousands of dollars, and it's just the fastest way to get some exposure to these projects, right? And I don't know if you guys did Notcoin, you know Notcoin, N-O-T? So Notcoin, many of the Block Circle family members got a huge airdrop for Notcoin. A lot of the Block Circle members got a massive airdrop for ZK Sync. I don't know if you guys know ZK Sync and all that. Massive airdrop. Some people got 5 figures. Some people got 6 figures. How are they getting 6 figures? It's because they have institutional rigs. They literally have hundreds of computers set up farming, right? How do you do that? That's the point of the community, right? I will post projects. Tim will post projects. Connor will post projects, and we'll say, "What do you think of this?" And before I even explain why I like this project, people will say that's a scam. So like that to me is the best, right? Everybody is refining each other. But for airdrops, just to wrap this topic up, we have this airdrops chat, and this is just an example. This is what I'm saying is that people are constantly talking about airdrops, focusing on different ones that are worth going to, right? And like this one, this is what they're farming. They're farming Karak. They're farming Scroll. They're farming Stream Protocol. On Solana, they're farming Margin, Camino, Meteora, right? So this is the projects that they're farming. And it's very helpful. It's very helpful. By the way, I want to mention one thing. Agnes is here also so she can translate anything that's complicated in Bahasa Indonesian. So if there's anything that is not clear, please just put your hand up, and Agnes will translate it, obviously in her native tongue, so it'll be a lot better than me trying to explain it in English. So is there anything anyone wants me to have Agnes translate? Is there anything you want me to, have her clarify or anything at all? No? Okay. So before we finish airdrops, is there any other, like Hyperliquid, I love this project. Like this one, I've been, bullish on Hyperliquid for a long time. Hyperliquid is a decentralized exchange that has perpetual futures. So I don't know, have you guys heard of Apex, or you've heard of DYDX? So DYDX, GMX, right? Apex, Hyperliquid, those are all decentralized exchanges with perpetual futures. Hyperliquid has massive backers. So I know some of you guys work in private equity and venture capitalism. So that's Hyperliquid is backed by a lot of those companies. And I'm like very confident that they're going to give a monster airdrop, right? They're going to give a huge airdrop. So I would definitely be spending some time looking at them. I would spend some time looking at Arcade NFT. I really like Arcade NFT. I've used it extensively. So Arcade NFT is a marketplace where you basically, if you have NFTs, you can connect to Arcade NFT and you can lend your NFTs. So you could literally lend your NFTs for money, right? All it takes is like 5 minutes to use it, and then again, you're eligible for an airdrop. So to me, airdrops, best way to find alpha.
I'll just jump in there, if that's all right. So we're looking at the results of Basil's research, as well as Kripto Hunter and the others in the group. and that's what's available, if you remember. So I would just check this list and make it very simple for myself. Although, if I had a question, I know you know the answer. So just wanted to explain what the sheet is that you're looking at, constantly updated and available. Yeah.
Thank you, that's perfect. Are there any questions at all from anyone? The ones in green?
Yeah.
So those are the ones that are particularly interesting to me. So ones that I wouldn't understand if they don't airdrop. It just wouldn't make any sense. Like Barachain, MetaMask, it doesn't make any sense why MetaMask would not airdrop in the future. So it's like, set up as many individual wallets on MetaMask as you can, just to be able to get some kind of volume. But the thing with airdrops, it's frequency, relevancy, right? It's very, very important. So if you can just do one transaction a month for a few months, it's much better than doing 100 transactions in one day. There are also applications that you can use that will make transactions for you automatically. So they'll execute transactions in a loop where you will trade $10 on 10x leverage, and then that boosts your volume, and that alone gives you much, much more valuable airdrops, right? So there's a lot of things that you could use. There's a whole bunch of really powerful tools that are in the chat also that people are sharing, and see people are talking about, oh, I got 25,000, I got 16,000. And the problem with the airdrops, the only problem is when they actually give you the airdrops, it's always best to just sell them right off the bat, because we were just talking about this, when Notcoin was listed on Binance, I very strongly suggested to everyone that they consider selling, because according to my research, it shows that when you receive a token, people tend to sell them. And then now Notcoin was down 90%, right? So it's that's very important. All right, so another thing. So now let's talk about post-tokenize. So another way to find alpha is projects that are already tokenized, which means that they're already on CoinMarketCap or CoinGecko, right? So you can already find them listed somewhere in some exchange. The way to find which ones are undervalued is you use proprietary tools. So we use our own proprietary AI tool to find projects that may be interesting, and then we manually review them ourselves. Our members also have their own tools that they use, but ultimately you're getting insider tips, you're getting different ways that people are proposing different projects to you to consider. So that's leveraging insider intel. Connecting with the alpha community is another very important way to find projects. Doing cluster analysis, and then tracking social relationships. So I'll talk through some examples of that. So one example of that is in our Block Circle Alpha Analysis app. The things that I like to look at is I like to focus on sentiment. I'm a big proponent of sentiment analysis, combining it with fundamental analysis and technical analysis. So the Alpha app is really mostly for fundamental analysis and sentiment analysis, right? So one metric, very simple metric that I like to track is the number of page views of the Bitcoin Wikipedia page, right? Very, very simple. Because if you ask anybody, have you heard of Bitcoin? And the first time they learn about Bitcoin, what do? They invariably will search for the word Bitcoin on Google. If you search for the word Bitcoin on Google, what comes up? It's the featured, one second, Bitcoin here. So Bitcoin, and you see the featured snippet here about Bitcoin? This is from Wikipedia. So people will always tend to click Bitcoin and go to this Wikipedia page view. Hello. So it's very, very, very valuable just tracking how often people are actually visiting the Bitcoin Wikipedia page view. That's it. It's as simple as that. If there's any one metric that you walk away today remembering, remember the sentiment-based metrics, like the ones where you're looking at page views, how often people are going to these pages, how long are they spending on these pages, coming from which regions of the world, what languages. So those are the types of metrics that we track very closely. And what you will notice So what I'll add is a 90-day simple moving average, okay? So this 90-day simple moving average just helps me see more cleanly what the actual Wikipedia page views traffic was and whether or not it's ascending or descending, right? Very simple. You will see a very clear, direct relationship that whenever you have this massive rise in Wikipedia page views, you also hit a market cycle peak. And this has happened every single time in the last 10 years. Like, it's just like literally no other metric that is all encompassing in one simple unified view as Bitcoin's Wikipedia page views. So if you look at how it peaked in 2017, it hit the peak. It peaked again in like March, April 2021 when Bitcoin peaked. And then it peaked again in November 2021 when Bitcoin peaked again, right? It's just so consistent. So I just think this one metric is very helpful. Another metric that I want to show you is this one. So let me show you from a different view. So here. So this shows you the number of Twitter new followers of exchanges. Okay, so I want you to just take a minute to like absorb that, right? So each exchange, like Binance, right? OKX, Bitfinex, Kraken, so like the exchanges here are Indodax, Toko Crypto, Ajib, right? These are like the big major exchanges. But the big major global exchanges, like the ones I mentioned, Binance, Kraken, Coinbase, those are the top three. If you just track how often, these chickens are going crazy. I don't know if you guys can hear it, but it's just, you can just track how often people are following them and how often people are unfollowing them. Why that's helpful? Just, you'll see it's such a clear relationship. So let's zoom into what happened in October, November, and December 2022. What do you notice? So these exchanges all lost so Coinbase lost 150,000 followers right when the market bottomed, right? So why 150,000 people stopped following the Coinbase Twitter? And I really want you to I want you to think about this. Just like sort of process it and absorb it. So what do people do when people lose interest? They unfollow the page. They're like, I don't want to hear about crypto. I don't want to hear about depositing any exchanges. I don't want to be promoted to. It's like the last thing you want to do is just, I want to unfollow you and leave me alone. But that to me is very, very good. That's when you should be buying, right? So we're very aggressive buying when everybody else is running away. So to me, that's very valuable metric. It's just a simple metric. Doesn't need to be any more complicated than that. I mean, I can show you complicated models, but there's no need. Why do we need to have like a algorithm that has like 100 conditions? We could just use simple sentiment-based metrics, right? So that's just one metric. Are there any questions at all about the value of this and like why this is something we use? No? Anyone? Yeah.
These are leading indicators that you're showing?
Yes, that's exactly. So some are leading and some are lagging, but the Bitcoin Wikipedia page views as its actual absolute value is absolutely a leading indicator because usually the peak happens 5 to 8 business days after. Why do you think that is? Does anybody know the answer? Is why does the Bitcoin market price peak 5 to 8 days after the Wikipedia page views peaks?
Takes about that long to buy one.
Yes. Exactly, man. So it's you going onto an exchange, you have to submit your passport and all the other shit you have to do. They verify you, then you gotta connect it to your checking account, you gotta deposit, then you gotta have a day or two, talk to your family, I don't know how much to buy, It's 5 to 8 days, So it's just very interesting, It's like it's interesting metrics to use. Other metrics that I want to just share with you is volatility. Okay, so what is volatility? A lot of you have heard about this term, and I think are not sure how it's calculated. I'm not sure how it's used. So volatility basically just shows you how violent, how violent the price is for an asset, like Bitcoin. If it's very violently moving up or violently moving down, the volatility is high, right? And there's a clear relationship between if the market cap or the market value of a project is low, then volatility tends to be very high. And if the market cap is very high, like Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, then volatility is decreased. What we like, what Connor and I and the team like to focus on, is we want small caps and micro caps. So that comes with a huge amount of extreme volatility, but we manage that by having disciplined risk management, and we have very disciplined take profit strategies. And I'll share this. I know a lot of you want to understand how I do that, and I'll walk you through that. But what do you notice about volatility with Bitcoin over the years? In the last 8 years, do you notice that there's a massive drop in volatility? Like it's just been steadily declining overall. So that makes it a little boring for me. Like I don't really care about Bitcoin. I know I have Bitcoin, I have a good amount of Bitcoin, and I've been stacking Bitcoin and stacking cash during this part of the market cycle, but that's not my research. My research is focusing on projects which are undervalued, and those are the ones I tend to go long on, and the projects that are overvalued are the ones that I tend to go short on, right? But it's interesting looking at the volatility of Bitcoin and the volatility of Ethereum compared to the volatility of natural gas and crude oil, right? Why is that important? Is whenever you see that the volatility is lower for Bitcoin than it is for natural gas or crude oil, that tends to be a very good time to look to accumulate. That's just what the data shows. It's not my opinion, it's just what the data shows, right? And I think that's interesting, right? So those kinds of things I think are very valuable. But those are just different metrics. So we basically have 1,000 coins here. We have 18 blockchains that we're pulling data from. And then, you can join and just check it out anytime that you want. So hopefully that explains, that's really like at a high level how we're collecting alpha and how we're bringing, different intelligence from different groups and from different channels. But so let me just show you our main, the main way we do it. So we have within our Discord, we have our trades, we have our community trades, and then within our community trades, we have threads. So each trader who's considered like a prominent trader, a quantitator, or a data scientist, or a financial engineer, or a full stack developer who's obsessed with trading, they have their own threads, right? And within their threads, they will post trades, they will post their own analysis, they will post different projects that are interesting to them, right? So one guy is called Leverage Mushroom. So Leverage Mushroom is amazing. His trades are incredible. So he's found like multiple 100x's. When everybody else has been like depressed and suicidal, he's just been finding 100x's. But they're not projects that you buy and hold long term. These are projects that you have some small percent of your portfolio exposed to them, right? So it's not something that you should be putting like 50% of your portfolio in micro caps and small caps. It needs to be like 10, 20, 30%. So it's controlled and it's like calm, responsible investing, right? Yeah.
Can I add something? It's almost a bit like a VC model, am I right in saying, that we use, where you have a very small percentage of projects that could do really, really well. So you're looking, exactly as Basil said, you're looking for almost a unicorn out of many, many projects.
That's exactly it. And then what I'll do is I'll show, it's nice, we have like a full packed house here, so it'll be nice to show the portfolio. So basically, this is the way that I structure it. And I like to build wealth through high risk concentrated bets. So that's just how I've done it, right? And high risk to me is like moderate risk, like it's mostly controlled and very calculated. But that's how you build wealth, is you have to have some very high conviction positions in Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, right? But then the way I preserve that wealth is through diversifying my positions and having a more balanced portfolio. So what I always suggest for people to consider is, instead of having 85% into some stupid meme coin, that's irresponsible and just foolish and irrational. The way to do it is to have maybe 70% is in Bitcoin, stablecoin, Ethereum, Solana, Doge. Those are like the 4 pillars that I try to focus on. Is Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, Doge, right? Those are my 4 that are tied to the investment narrative that I believe in, that I can explain to my mom, I can explain to my dad, they will understand. Doesn't require rocket science to understand the importance and power of memetics, of like memes, and the power of blockchain platforms, layer 1s. We already know that Bitcoin's a layer 1 blockchain. We know that its competitors, Ethereum, it's gonna exist forever. We know that Solana is gonna continue challenging Ethereum. So having some exposure to those 4, good. Doesn't require a PhD to do that, right? But beyond that is what I like to focus on. And that's around 30 to 30% of your portfolio should be in more speculative, high risk bets, right? How you can do that is I like to have around, 25% of that 30%. So think of it as like some percent is in my momentum trading engine, right? And what we built on what I was showing you before is I have different configurations that I've been actually testing with money for over a year and a half, and it's worked tremendously well. And you can say, right? It's hitting long, takes profit. Go long, take profit. Go long, take profit. This has worked tremendously well for me. I wish I put more of my portfolio into it because it's literally done a 78x since January of last year. And if people question it, people are like, oh, those are not real numbers. All the numbers are there. So everything is completely transparent. We're the only service that has a full historical trades log. If you ask any other service or any other group or any other, anything that you've seen others do, they will never share their full log, right? And that's the reason I think we have a partnership with CoinvestAsi, is we're the only crypto trading partner for them and for CoinDesk Indonesia, is because they trust us, right? And we have a relationship with them because everything is documented. You can audit and log, everything is logged. Every single trade we've taken is here, right? Is in our historical trades log. Anyone can access it. You can challenge it. Like, why were we buying Doge back in, November 2019? We explained exactly why. So we were buying TRX, right? Tron. I bought Tron back in 2017, right? I bought it when it was trading on Ether Delta, for God's sake. So it's like every single project that we bought, went long, went short on, it's all documented in our trades log. Anyone can access it, so everything is documented. There's no one can challenge like, oh, well, you never actually went long here, you never went short. It's like, it's all documented. We can't delete it. We don't edit it because our reputation is all we have. So if we get caught on one line, everything we've been building for the last 7 years is basically gonna disappear, right?
Basil, I think that's the transparency and the fact that you're also open to asking questions. That there's trades about coins that have 3,000 comments, even the Solana trade is probably 100,000 comments at this stage. A lot of signal scripts will just post the signal. There will be no opportunity you can like it, but there's no opportunity to actually ask the trader a question. And even by having that facility in our Discord, it opens everybody to scrutiny and everybody to sort of cross-examination and having to really justify your thesis for every trade, which is incredibly valuable.
That's exactly. So like if you just look at Omnom, so when Kripto Hunter bought Omnom, it's not like the members were like, oh yeah, we're just all gonna pile in. It's not. The members, the people who are in Block Circle are founders of Layer 1, Layer 2 blockchains. One of the founders of Polygon is in Block Circle. Trader Main, like Mac and BTC, these like major crypto Twitter guys that they're all in Block Circle, and they're all bringing alpha themselves. And whenever somebody tries to pump something, we kick them out. So we refuse to partner with exchanges. And I mean that respectfully. I know some of you are in exchanges. I don't have anything against exchanges. But we don't partner with protocols. We never accept advisor tokens. We never partner with any form of exchange. We don't accept affiliate partnerships. We don't accept affiliate links in our platform because we have to stay objective, right? So whenever I buy something or Kripto Hunter buys something, sometimes we get like very challenged, right? Or like, why are you buying this? And this project maybe looks potentially could be scam or it could be fraudulent. So that's how we just get better and better, right? So you can see Omnom had 3,000 messages, and some of the messages were quite critical, like, whoa, well, this is not the right time, and I don't know if it really is, in fact, the first meme coin. I'm gonna put less than 0.2%, so what usually we'll put 0.2 to 0.3% into these positions, right? We're not gonna put 25% into some random meme coin that somebody's created, you know? Like another simple project that we just bought is Bell. So have anyone here, have you heard of Bell coin? Yeah? You've heard of Bell, but I don't know if it's the same Bell. There's a lot of Bell. So I want to just explain a simple narrative. So who created Doge? The person who created Doge, the first meme coin, he actually created the meme coin before Doge, right? And he created a coin called BEL, B-E-L. It's unbelievably difficult to buy. It's the biggest pain in the ass to buy. The coins we buy are very difficult to buy. That's why we like them, right? Is whenever the process to onboard and to buy these tokens is difficult, that's when I become very interested. Because when the process is grainy and hairy and complicated and very cumbersome, that's when you get the earliest possible trade opportunities. So what coins are those? Those are not the coins trading on Indodax or Tokyo Crypto. Those coins to me make me want to go to sleep, right? I'm not interested in those. And again, I mean it respectfully. I do not mean it in a derogatory way. But those coins are boring to me. I want the ones that are only trading on Uniswap, only trading on Jupiter or Orca or Radium, right? Those are the ones that are interesting to me. And then when they get listed on MEXC, right, on MEXC, or they get traded on Qcoin, then that's when you want to start offloading. You don't want to be buying when it's starting to get listed on centralized exchanges. You want to start offboarding, right? So, so hopefully that makes sense. What's another example? So Bell. So about Bell. So Bell, we just bought it, and it's already up 6x. So we're taking some profit on it, right? I'm taking some profit on it. Crypto Hunter's taking some profit on it. Connor's taking some profit on it. But we just help with entering. We just share, hey, this is what we're buying now. You can buy it as much as you want, but you should manage your exit. So we try to teach everybody to be like, we're not a trading academy. We're not some kind of copy trading or prop trading platform. We're just sharing what we're looking at and what's interesting to us, right? So Bell coin, it could continue to do well, but it's likely a very good time to take profit on it. It's not something that I would be looking to enter in right now. It's extremely overstretched and overbought, Hopefully this is making sense and you're finding it helpful. But these are just examples of different projects that we've looked at and our process of doing it.
I think that's a good point just to ask if anyone has any questions about or even some ideas or direction, just to have a little bit of a break and just think about what we've been talking about so far.
Yeah, you guys please ask questions. So every week we do, so Kripto Hunter does live stream twice a week, and then I usually do an open Q&A live stream where once a week where everyone just drills with questions, and usually 2-3 hours, 4 hours long. And because people are just constantly asking questions, what do you think of this? What do you think of this project? What's your so I like macroeconomics, econometrics. I like trying to understand geopolitical risks. I try to understand US politics, Indonesian politics, French politics, Middle East politics. So I try to get the macro picture into it, so I share a lot of my thoughts on that during the live streams. So yeah, that's all part of the Block Circle, service.
And Basil, I know you're going to move on to tools pretty soon, and more of the workshop. I guess people may be wondering, what is the average profile of people in the group? Is this a group that's really only consists of whales? Is it a group of people with $100 in their bank account?
So I would say that it doesn't make any sense, I think, to join Block Circle Premium, which is $99 a month, which has been the same exact price since we first were created in 2017. We refused to change the price. Other people charged like $250 to $3,000 a month, and they have like 1/20th of the community that we have. So to me, like, okay, there's like nothing that they can say that would make me like convinced that what they offer is superior in any way. But we don't compete with them. So many of their founders are members also. So we have members of like the Haven that are part of, we have members from Walsh Wealth Group that are part of Block Circle. So they're all part of Block Circle, and we share alpha bi-directionally, right? But I think it doesn't make sense if I go to USD. It doesn't make sense to join premium if your total portfolio is like $500, right? Or like, and it's around like 3 to 5%. So around 3 to 5% of your portfolio, if that's at least $100, then I think it's worth joining. Then you're going to get much more than what you're putting in. If you have less than $1,000 portfolio or less than like 1,500, then I think basic would be absolutely more than enough to like get started, because that basically gives you access to the entire alpha app and all of the alpha tools, including the momentum trading engine. And just this alone has been just printing money. Like, I honestly, and I mean that like genuinely, it's been doing so well for me personally as well. And it's just been very good at being able to enter longs and enter shorts days before it happens. And you can see that, like literally as I've been in Bali, it's just been trading in the background, and it's been buying and selling as I've been like, doing workshops with the team. So it's been excellent. So
I think it's worth mentioning as well that premium and basic are both reduced.
Yeah,
so we only have the 70% off, which is very, very rare.
For Block Circle Indonesia, because we want to jumpstart the community, we want to collect as many brains as possible to help us and for us to help them. We're running like a crazy 70% promotion for Merdeka, so for the Indonesian Independence Day, but also to commemorate our partnership with Coinvestasi. So we're running that until the end of the month. We've never done anything that was like as extreme as this, but like we really want to focus on Indonesia. We want to jumpstart Indonesia. So that's our focus. But if you happen to be here and you want, and again, there's only one membership, so there's no like, it's this much for this country, this much for this country. It's just as long as you join, you have access to the entire global alpha community and alpha tools. But if you're using an Indonesian IP, you can have access to it. So we're not going to restrict it only to Bahasa Indonesia, right? So it's like everyone. But yeah, hopefully that makes sense. Are there any questions? Let's open up some questions here. Yeah, we'll give you a microphone. Go ahead, Ted.
So, with the trading engines, do you use like should we input the API of our like Binance account or Widget or OKX or KuCoin maybe, or we just we trade it manually with our account?
So, despite a lot of people asking for us to be a fund, we like refuse to be a fund. We also refuse to ever trade on the behalf of anyone, because my business partner and I, and also I'm sure Tim and Agnes and Connor, we don't want that headache that comes with it, and like all of the security and regulatory restrictions and the oversight that comes with that. So what we focus on is just being able to provide the engine that produces the alerts that meets any conditions you want, right? So the way that the momentum trading engine works is it's in TradingView. So I'm assuming everyone here has already used TradingView. Has anyone here not used TradingView? No? Any of you use TradingView? Okay, so everybody's used TradingView. So in TradingView, you can go into indicators.
Oh, so it's an indicator.
It's a strategy.
Oh,
So it's a strategy. It's not an indicator, but it's under invite only. So when you click indicators and then click invite only, you'll go to Block Circle and you'll see all of the different strategies that we have. But Momentum Trading Engine version 2 is the one that you're seeing here. And all you do is just click it, and then it'll be added to your chart. And then basically, So I'll show you. So when you add it, it has a default configuration, but the way you configure it is very simple. It's just 4 simple steps, right? What time period do you want to run your strategy for? Second is what conditions do you want to use for entering a trade? So like, I want Bitcoin price to be up 50,000. I want RSI to be below 80. I want stochastic to be above 13. I want momentum to be 65, right? So all these conditions are entry conditions. Third step, what conditions do you want to be met before exiting a trade? Take profit of 15%, stop loss of 20, right? Trailing stop loss on the 1 day, or open interest is above 3 billion. So we have all those exit conditions, and I'll show you them. So like step 1 we did, step 2 I talked to you about the entry conditions. And then let me zoom in so you can like really see it. So that's like step 1, you see that? Step 1, step 2, entry. And then step 3, so these are all entry. You see there's like hundreds of them. This is why it's taken like, I'm like half bald because of this engine. It's taken me forever, but I'm really proud of what we built. And then the exit condition, step 3. So stop loss, take profit, higher time frame exit. Do you want to exit on an opposite signal? I know many of you are algorithmic traders and you're building your own engines and your own trading strategies. So that to me is, I'm not competing with you, right? Like I'm just focusing on this engine. But those are all the different conditions we have. We can do an enabling trailing stop loss. You can do trailing stop loss on a higher time frame. You can do like momentum-based invalidation. You can do Heiken-Ashi invalidation. So there's all just exit conditions. It doesn't matter how, you can be as sophisticated and as precise as you can be. And then the last step is, do you only want to do longs, or do you want to do longs and shorts? Do you want to do market orders or limit orders? If you want to do limit orders, do you want to have a percentage adjustment? Like if your limit order is for 15,000, do you want to have an automated premium or discount added to it? Like to make sure you increase fill rate? And if anything I'm saying is not making sense, just please ask, but I think you guys are getting it. Most of you are advanced, so I think we're all on the same page. And then what you do, so to get to your question, all you do is you literally will set up an account with a trade execution service. So a trade execution service will take the alerts and it'll buy and sell as you want it to, right? So an example of that is, and I've done like a whole tutorial on it. So if you go to YouTube and then type in block circle and then go to our channel, so and you go to videos, you'll see a tutorial here, this one, where once this link. Okay, so this one, momentum trading engine. So this momentum trading engine is what I was showing you, and it's just a tutorial. It's a 1-hour tutorial, and it literally walks you through exactly how to set it up and how to configure it. And then lastly, in the same description, let me like zoom in, make this look massive. Okay, do you see these names here, Teo?
Oh, I see. So that's the execution machine for.
Yes.
Okay, so you put the API on that.
Yes.
Bot.
Exactly.
Okay. Okay.
So 3 Commas has a free plan where they will take the alerts and they will execute the buys and sells for one strategy. So the momentum trading engine, again, it's not a trading bot. It's not a trading bot. It's a fully configurable trading engine. So you can test billions of combinations of different strategies. So think of that, there's just strategies. So you can build one for bullish conditions. You can build one for bearish conditions. You can build one for Q1 of this year. You can build another one for Q2. But as long as you're fine tuning it, calibrating it, and back testing it, and you're happy with the conditions. So like the one that I like, one of the 4 configurations that I like is running on the Bitcoin USD on the 1 day. And when I look at the actual performance of this strategy, let me just save this and refresh it, and it should load perfectly. But this one strategy has literally been 100% accurate. Okay? So it's been 100% accurate, but it's only traded 22 times since January of last year. So it's only trading once a month, right?
I see.
This is not made for people who are trading like $100, right?
Yeah.
It's like, there's literally whales in Block Circle that are trading 7 figures, 8 figures. They're trading like, I know of people who've told me that they're trading 5 million, 6 million, 7 million with these trading configurations, but because they can't accept a strategy that's going to have
Higher risk and
much higher risk.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because, like I said, I have 2 kids and a wife, but they have like entire company funds to manage, right? So they have to be very controlled and calculated in what they're doing. So they're completely fine with taking 3 to 5 to 6 to 7% in profit. To them, that's excellent. If you're making 5% to 7% a month, you're already doing 6, 7 times better than most of the hedge funds in the United States. Like, I think people if you can just process that. So I like momentum trading engine configuration, that one, right? Another configuration that I really, really like, that has worked tremendously well, is configuration on the 1 hour. So let me try to bring it up here. I think it's this one. Yeah. So this one has been, it's 97 to 98% accurate, but look how many times it's traded, right? But what I've noticed is that it's much better to rely on the trading engine to enter trades, but then you manage trades, exits yourselves. That's what I've done, and it's worked amazingly well. So when it's in profit, 2%, 3%, 5%, all I do is I turn on trailing stop losses, and I give it around 1 or 2% breathing room, and then I let the position ride, and it's done unbelievably well. Like, it literally just closed 16, 17% profit just last week on this trading configuration. What I've noticed is if you rely on the engine to exit every time, it sometimes washes away too many profits. It's like, I like to just be very controlled and very calculated. And the trailing stop loss, if people are not familiar with what it is, a trailing stop loss is you literally setting a stop loss.
In percentage, like.
Exactly. So
The
if you
small
have,
amount.
if you have a stop loss, so a stop loss obviously says if your trade hits that stop loss, the trade closes, right? But it's a stupid design. Like, what you should ideally have is a trailing stop loss where your stop loss will move up in increments or in decrement, right? So if you want to go up or down, depending on how you want it, and you want to give it enough room. So you want the stop loss to keep adjusting automatically. So that's one very disciplined way to use proper risk management with positions that you don't want to be watching every day, right? Like, you have families, you have work, you have other responsibilities. You can't be monitoring these positions every day. So a trailing stop loss to be turned on when you're in profit is a very, very effective way of locking in profit and protecting those gains, So that's what I've done. You can do what you feel is best, and like, that's what I always tell people, and that's why I'll show you. So let me just show you exactly how it looks. So in trades, we share all of our trades. So a crypto hunter is buying Bitcoin puppets. And he's been buying this for like months, right? So this is just like an example. Like, okay, I'm buying Bitcoin puppets. This is what I think I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be buying all the way down to, and he says he's going to risk 2.5% of his portfolio into Bitcoin puppets. And he explains why. He's been talking about it for like a year, right? And he's done very well with them. But let me show you how the trades look like. So here. So let me show you a simple open and close. So we're like, this one was a buy, and then trying to find you like a very clean one. Okay, this. So let's walk through this. So this is an alert that has come from the momentum trading engine, and it's saying it's configuration 4. You remember I was telling you, so these are different trading strategies that I'm testing. I'm testing 4 now with actual money. Each of them has, and I'm testing it with like tens of thousands, right? Other people are testing it with much, much more. And there's some configurations that I'm testing like a lot more. because I'm much more confident in those configurations, but I want to keep rapidly testing new ones to see which ones are going to be worthwhile. Because a trading strategy is only as good as it can be for only so long until you have to intervene and adjust it, right? So I don't want to over-intervene. I don't want to overfit the model, and I don't want to over-engineer the configuration. I want to try to keep it as simple as possible with the least amount of assumption. Does that make? Hopefully that makes sense. So this configuration 4 on. Are you guys good? Do you guys need any help? Are they all good? Good. Okay. So this configuration 4 is saying on 2 a.m. What day was this? August 24th. So August 24th. 2 days. It was 2 days ago, yeah? It's saying this strategy is 100% win rate with suggested manual exit using trailing stop loss. What's the trade action? The trade action is buy. What was the prior trade position? Prior trade position was flat. Flat means no position, right? Ultimately, it's saying do a long, no leverage if you want. I like to use 2 to 3x leverage. I don't like to use more than that. That is like my limit. Because the problem with using more than 2 to 3x leverage is if your position is 20% underwater, that's 60%, right? That's going to be underwater. So if you're using 20x, that's just crazy. If it's down 5%, you've already been liquidated, you've been margin called, your position's closed, right? So I like to use 2 to 3x with highly confident configurations. And within 1 hour, it hit the goal. It already got to its take profit goal. And it's telling you sell, prior trade position was long, and now the trade position is flat. Right? So you can plug in these alerts to 3 commas, Cornix bot, Mizar bot, L3D, Coin Rule, Crypto Robotics, right? We were meeting the group in Bali who created Crypto Robotics. They compete with those services. We refuse to partner with any of those companies, and it's not a matter of not trusting them, it's we have to stay objective. We're like very strict about that. We have to not have any conflict of interest. So, and I'm like anal retentive about that. Because again, like the only way people are going to trust what we're saying is to know that we don't have some kind of backdoor deal like everyone else does. So that's why we don't do any affiliates with those companies. I can just tell you what is a good service to use. Those ones are good. Cornix is okay. It's not like definitely not one of my favorites, but it depends on what exchanges you want to use. So let me just show you. So if you go to 3 commas, right, and you go to this, and you go to 3 commas, and you try to log into their app and you want to use it, it will tell you what exchanges are compatible with this service. So here, see this? So if you have a Bybit, Binance, OKX, Bitfinex, BitGet, you were mentioning BitGet, right? So BitGet is available on 3 commas. So you would plug in your BitGet account to 3 commas, and you get the alerts into 3 commas, and 3 commas will execute the trade as you want it to do. And you can set take profit targets in 3 commas. You can manage how you exit. Hopefully that's making sense. But if you have Woo, so I like Woo. I love Woo as an exchange. Problem with Woo is it's just not compatible with many of these services, but it is compatible if you use Mizar bot. Mizar bot is not the greatest bot, right? As you can see, but it's still a good bot. It still does the job, and it's compatible with Woo, and it's also backed by Nexo and KuCoin and Huobi and Woo, right? So I like to use all of them just so I have some managed risk, right? But it's compatible with Woo. So if you're using Woo, right? So it just depends what exchange and which one's compatible with which. If you don't want to use any centralized exchanges, there's also TradingView connectors that you could use to execute the trade on a decentralized exchange. Is that hopefully that I don't want to lose anybody with that, but There's literally a connector that will plug in TradingView to execute a trade on Uniswap or execute a trade on Jupiter Exchange. So I'm only going advanced because I can see that you're all advanced, but that's how if you want to be very sophisticated and you don't want to ever use a centralized exchange, you can plug in these alerts to a decentralized exchange so it executes trades on DYDX and GMX, and, you know? All right, guys. We should probably take any questions. What are any questions? Yeah. Can we take the microphone? Thank you.
Hello. When I become your Blockcycle member, so I can access your API documentation.
Yeah. So we don't actually have an API. We don't. Yeah. But I mean, what you can access all the data yourself. Everything's completely open.
In TradingView.
Yeah. On the TradingView, it's part of the membership, so you'll have it.
Okay.
So you wouldn't need the API. The only API you need is from the exchange to the trade execution service, like 3 comments.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And, yeah, of course, you're welcome.
I'll just add a comment as well there, I guess. So you're showing those 4 configurations, Basil, and I guess in the Discord there's maybe about 200 members, I guess, in the threads, trying at different configurations, people who are obsessed with this kind of thing and can't get enough of spending time trying to find profitable configurations and pairs, including pairs that are more liquid. But to share to the group the 4 configurations that are looking at those very liquid tokens and pairs that connect easily with CEXs is a smart move. But if you drill down into the community, there's also a lot more configurations being tested.
Yeah, that's exactly it. I mean, that's what you're seeing on the screen now. This is just an example of configuration 4, the Bitcoin USD on the 1 hour. So this is more of a scalp trading. It trades roughly every 4 days, but it's been trading a lot more recently. Why? Does anybody know why? This is why I love you guys. Yeah, so that's exactly why. Volatility's been spiking, so it's just been on fire. It's just been firing and closing, firing opens and closing. Because it keeps hitting 1, 2, 3, 5%. And once it hits those, we've been trailing the positions. And I tell people, hey, you should get the hell out, right? Solana's at like 160, probably a good time to take profit. It's unbelievably overbought, Yeah, I didn't talk about the market analysis, but we'll talk. Yeah. So, are there any other questions? Ask about anything. It doesn't have to be about Block Circle. Just ask about the market or project. If you want me to look at a project, I can look at any project you want.
What do you think about liquidation?
About liquidation of?
Liquidation.
Oh, liquidation hingga. Yeah, I'll talk to that. Yeah. So, actually, that's like perfect to talk about the market analysis. Okay, so Connor, what is the thing and everything? The food and everything. We can just check so we can coordinate. So, what I like to do is, a lot of you have asked me how to take profit, on how to stay disciplined, on how to exit, and how to make sure you're not round tripping. Because I know many of you have round tripped. You've told me this privately, like as I've been meeting you the last few days. And what I focus on myself on Block Circle more than anything, it's research, but it's market analysis. So I try to get a broad view on the market, and I look at many quantitative ratios that I've created myself to be able to track the health of the market. And that assessment of the health of the market helps me decide how aggressive I should be in taking profit or how conservative I should be in how much capital I'm deploying. Is that hopefully that makes sense? But that has helped me tremendously, because what I like to look on, and I'll show you exactly, but back in late February, I very strongly suggested to everyone to get the hell out. right? And I very explained it concretely to take profit. It was unbelievably overbought. And it wasn't just, oh, I looked at RSI above 80, and it was like, that's overbought. Like, that doesn't mean anything. That doesn't carry any value because you can stay in overbought territory for many months. But you're asking about liquidation maps, right? So this is back, this is a lot. I mean, because I share all of my research and my analysis, right? But there, something here, March. So back in here, this was in like March 9th, I think. It's like the month, yeah. So March 9th, I say futures and options. So first of all, let me explain to everybody what a liquidation map is. So if you have a leveraged position, like you're using perpetual futures, you're using margin trades, and you have some leverage in some trade, like 2x, 3x, 5x leverage, the exchange is essentially lending you money to be able to trade with. And if you fall below what their threshold, accepted threshold is, then they can liquidate your position, right? You get margin call. Problem is that most people don't understand like the terms of those liquidations. And a lot of times if you even if you're just 10% above what they allow, they can still liquidate you, right? So what ends up happening is when the market crashes, everybody gets liquidated. So it's like billions of dollars of people getting liquidated and getting wiped out. Everyone here, I'm sure, has experienced some type of liquidation. But what I like to focus on is how much people have invested in crypto in a leveraged way. And I do that just by tracking open interest. So this is basically how much crypto capital is still not settled. It's open interest, right? So these are not finished, not closed contracts. So these are open positions. And what I saw was that open interest completely broke all-time high and crashed it, right? It completely crushed $30 billion. Just $30 billion of crypto that people were betting and kept going long on. So that was metric one. Metric two, I look at the ratio of calls to puts. You don't need to know what a call and put is. If you want to know, I can explain it. But within derivative markets, there's also options, right? Options allows you to make a call or to make a put, right? And you're betting on the market going high or you're betting on the market going down. 61% of the options open interest was long. So whenever you're seeing this like extreme bias, when you see this extreme bias, that should be a huge red flag in your head. You're like, okay, $30 billion, Bitcoin broke all-time high. You're like, calls to puts is like almost 6.5 to 3.5. So it's like 6 to 3, 6 to 4.